Hey there YouTubers, it's Leo Alderpald. Hope you're all doing well. And well, today's been interesting, to say the least. In my concerted efforts to bring you interesting content, I have been all over the friggin' shop today, trying to find a suitable place to do a good or informative video, but one which isn't just about smoking pipes and all of that nonsense, you know, something that's actually interesting to hear me rambling about. And in that quest I have singularly failed so far. So I'm afraid you've got a rather dull video from inside my car, where I have been for the last few hours, but let me tell you where I've been trying to find you an interesting bit of content. Housekeeping first. I'm smoking a new Morgan Bones. Don't know what shape you'd call that, billiard or something probably, I don't know. They call it the big and burly, which suits me fine since I'm mostly a burly smoker. And I actually used to have a Bones pipe, a Morgan Bones pipe, which was colouring up quite nicely, and I gave it to a guy in Papua New Guinea, who was a bit of a rascal, as they call him out there, a thief, who was discussing with his friends the possibility of robbing me before he realised I could understand the language. And after which time he treated me like a proper gent. Yeah, I gave him my last Morgan Bones pipe, in which to smoke the local tobacco over there, the Bruce, as they call it. But in it I am smoking some Original Flake, formerly known as Walnut Flake, until the ridiculous powers that be decided that you can't have anything that sounds like food on a tobacco name. So gone are the cherry and the chocolate flakes and things like that, and the walnut flake in this case. Now this is just Original Flake. Well, anywho, so I was unsure as to whether or not I was going to work today, but I had to take my girlfriend to a place which was quite a way away from home. So I figured, well, I'll drive around and find a couple of nice places to do some interesting video. So the first place I went to was the Cernabas Giant, which, for those of you who know Dorset, will know very well, and that is a 50 metre high chalk figure, 50 or 60 metre high chalk figure in the hillside, who sports a rather impressive erect phallus. He's sporting a boner. And I was going to talk about that, but unfortunately, from the view from the car park, which is really the best view you can get of the hill figure itself, it's a grey, miserable day. The chalk wasn't, the chalk from the figure himself wasn't very bright, so, you know, I took a photograph and you could barely see the thing. So I gave up on that idea. I thought, right, okay, well, I'll drive around and find somewhere else. I've got a good idea. I thought, I know a really good place I can take you, which is up onto the Quantox, Mindips, I think. Anyway, Cheddar Gorge area, beautiful escarpment, a beautiful limestone escarpment overlooking the Somerset Levels. And the landscape of the Somerset Levels is particularly fascinating in a lot of ways, lots of really interesting history about it. So I thought, all right, I'll take you up there, I'll do a bit of a spiel about the Somerset Levels and the Isle of Avalon, etc, etc. But alas, being a typical March day, we're alternating between the bright sunshine that you're seeing at this particular moment and pissing sideways rain and high wind. So once I got up to the escarpment, after having driven another 80 miles or so, it was not doable to do it from up there. So I thought, right, okay, I'll save that for another day. Maybe when I'm out on the motorbike, I'll go up to that place and talk a little bit about the levels. So that plan was scuppered. And I have subsequently driven around for the last couple of hours trying to find something interesting to talk about. And I've failed. But I'm quite amused by it, really. It's just sort of pretty typical. So you're currently watching me in my car, which I've just bought yesterday or the day before. I needed 4 wheels, unfortunately, for work and things like that. But it's great. It's got plenty of room in the back. I can put all my shit in. And I'm currently parked on a little country lane outside of the village of Wincanton in Somerset, which is famous for its racecourse. And today's a race day, so I've just driven past the race course just now, and there's lots of cars and people and horses and TV cameras and all the rest of that shit. So in the effort to bring you some interesting content, which I realise I haven't done for quite a while, because nobody wants to hear me waffle on about pipes and tobacco. That shit's boring as hell. Or rather, there's enough people doing it that will do it a lot more informatively and more interestingly than I can. But in the course of that, I have spent a shitload of money on diesel, driven about 180 miles in a big loop, and now I'm just smoking in my car instead. So those are the efforts I go to. Hope you appreciate it. But anywho, I've got a couple of hours left before I go to pick up my girl. I'm going to give a quick shout out to a chap I've just found on YouTube. His name is Backwoods Piper 1. He's on Instagram. I only knew him through Instagram, but I've just subscribed to his channel. And I'm giving a shout out to him because I watched one of his videos yesterday and I realised we could be related. Except he's over there in the States and I'm over here. But we're sporting exactly the same Carhartt dungarees and browning baseball cap and greying beard. So go and check out Backwoods Piper 1 anyway. He does a fair number of interesting rambles about stuff. And I'm afraid I can't remember his name on Instagram. So that's it, folks. What I'm going to do, having brought you this really dull video, 10 minutes of me waffling about my efforts to bring you something interesting, is I'm going to go and find myself a pub and have a proper English beer, smoke some very fine tobacco in a very fine pipe. I'm really quite pleased with this. It's almost a Canadian. It's got the oval shank of a Canadian, but not the same shaped bowl. And it feels good in the hand. It's nice and solid. You could almost kill a cougar with it. Not that I want to, but hopefully that'll colour up nice soon. There's something I really do like about these Bones pipes. Now you just develop a patina or patina, all of your very own. You personalise it with your own grubby mitts. And I kind of like that, because no two pipes, even if the briar was identical, after a year no two pipes would look the same. But yeah, I'm going to go and have a beer now. Find a nice country pub somewhere. And then I'm going to go and pick up my girl from the Fleet Air Arm Museum, which is where I dropped her, and maybe even take a walk around the museum myself. But my apologies for the really lame video. I hope it's given you a little bit of entertainment at least. And I will endeavour on the next fine day to bring you something a little bit more informative. I was a little bit gutted when you couldn't see the Carnappus giant, because you folks over there in the States, well, you definitely would have been tickled by it. But maybe another day. So anywho, you take care, folks. I hope you're all doing well. Oh, and before I sign off, actually, I want to say an enormous thank you to all of the people who commented on my last video, where I was discussing mental health, in particular anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. There were a lot of really, really good supportive comments, but more importantly, there were a lot of people, especially people that I did not think it of at all, who were just chipping in and saying, yep, I've been suffering for this long. And it just seemed like a few people wanting to get a few things off their chest, and that video just seemed to kind of open up the floodgate, so to speak. I had a lot of very positive comments about that, so I'm really, really pleased that you folks who watched and commented felt able to do so, because that was what the video was all about, just removing that stigma and talking about mental health and how at certain times, for whatever reason, we can all suffer from these issues. But there you go. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you all again soon. Hopefully, in a more picturesque setting than the interior of my Peugeot 306. Take care, folks. See you later.